Can you build a studio with just West Audio gear? Now, I'm close to that point. I've got all the 500 series racks here. There's 500 series racks with EQs, compressors, there's mic pre. Every piece that they offer is in that rack. Over here, I've got the tube comp, the tube EQ, and the bus comp. Down there, I've got the NG leveler on my summing mixer as well. Now, can you build an entire studio with the obvious exceptions of interface, but the processing that is going to be applied on each channel? Can you build that into your studio with just West Audio gear? Now, with the mixing, yes, I think you can, because you have over here, I've got 32 channels on my Lynx Aurora N, and I think there's about 28 channels of channel strips, EQs and compressors. So you've got the RIA, which is a Vari-Mu, you've got the Dione, which is a VCA comp, and then you have the Pandora, which is a multiband comp. You've then got EQs, you've got the Prometheus, and you've got the Hyperion. The Prometheus being a passive EQ and the Hyperion being a 4-band parametric EQ. You've then got mic pre's, and you've got the 1176 style FET comp, which is the Mimus or the Mimus. Now, there's a good range there. Now, I know myself with the EQs and compressors, I can set that up mixing wise. I've got EQ and compressor on every channel. Mixing wise, 100%. I could just have all of those compressors and EQs, and I wouldn't necessarily need anything else. The thing with it is it's nice to have different sounds and different processors in the chain. If you just have one brand of EQ and compressor or one style of EQ and compressor, then you're only ever going to get that one sound, which you do get quite a range of with the Vari-Mu and the VCAs, but sometimes you'll want a different sound for different purposes. Like I've got the Telga stuff down there, which I use mainly on my vocal bus with the Schwarzkopf machine, and then the Cream I'll use sometimes over drums, sometimes on instruments. But generally speaking, I can get the majority of the processing done using the West Audio gear. So in the mixing stage, I'd say 100% you could have a lovely DAW controller like the S4 or an SSL UF8 or something. You'd have those set up, and then you could control your DAW with that, and then you could have 32 channels of West Audio channel strips, and that's a dream setup. That really is an incredible setup. But then we go into mastering. Now, on the mastering side of things, you have the West Audio Tube EQ, and you have the West Audio Tube Comp, and you have the Bus Comp, which is 3 units that are very good. These are very, very good high-end. I would call them in the high-end mastering grade units, those 3. What you don't have in the mastering side is your limiter. So I still have the Hum Audio Lull, and I also have the Better Maker DARF limiter as well. So I use the DARF limiter as the clipper, and I use the Lull as the limiter. West Audio don't currently have a limiter. I would predict that one will come within the next 3 years. I'd say there's 100% there will be a limiter by West Audio, and it will absolutely be one of the best limiters you're going to hear. Now, I have no prior knowledge of whether that is going to be the case. I just predict that that's the logical thing to do. Now, the one thing that West Audio don't have in the mastering stage is a dedicated saturation box. So in order for you to have a full West Audio chain, I would like something like what an MBT is, where you've got that silk red, silk blue saturation on the highs and lows, and you can add that sort of saturation. Now, you can do that within the West Audio Vari-Mu, the Tube Comp. You can add saturation, but it's not as kind of detailed as what I would like. I would like something that's more in the way of kind of more multi-band saturation. So for that, currently I have the Carnaby HE2s in here, and that does a great job at that. In order for me to move to a fully 100% West Audio mastering chain, that would be something that would have to go in. Now, the other thing with it is I like a tube EQ in the West Audio tube EQ, and then I like a clean EQ. Now, arguably, what you could do is you could have two tube EQs and have one set to the clean output, one set to the colored output using the tubes. Now, the clean output is, I guess, similar to what I achieve here with the Betamaker EQ, in the sense that that's a very clean EQ. Now, by that being a very clean EQ, I can do all my surgical EQ on that. I don't necessarily want to do my surgical EQ on a tube EQ, but I could. Now, you could, if you did want two EQs, you could have two tube EQs and select one as clean output and one as tube output or colored output. So you could do that. I don't personally think that's the best option. So what I would love, and in order to do this entire West Audio studio in terms of mastering chain as well, I think West Audio could have a very clean surgical EQ that's very different to the tube EQ. And in order to do that, I feel it would have to be a different product altogether. You can't just be, oh, we'll just turn off the kind of colored outputs, and we'll just use the clean outputs. I don't think that will really work, because you've still got two EQs that very much still sound the same. You want two different EQs, or at least I do. That's why I use two totally different EQs. One's very clean and one's very colored. The other things, yeah, limiter's one that West Audio would need to come out with if they want us to have this 100% West Audio chain. In terms of what else, I mean, there's the other things as well, is like the Zombie Rex Mammoth. I couldn't remove that, so I couldn't. That I'd have to keep, and the reason I'd have to keep that is because that's essential. That is an incredible tool. I can't see West Audio ever bringing out something that kind of is going to replace that, or is going to kind of rival that. That is a very special unit in its own right. But look, to answer this question that someone's asked me, could I just use the West Audio gear that's in here? This was the initial question, was could I just use what is in here that's West Audio and still get an exceptional sound? Definitely, of course. There's a few little things, i.e. the limiting, the additional EQ, and the saturation in the mastering chain that would limit me somewhat, because if I'm looking at just the mastering chain, all I've got is the bus comp, the EQ, and the compressor. So, and that, in terms of, you could get a great master using those three, of course, but there's other tools that I have in here that add to that, and I wouldn't want to lose those. But you still could get a great master using just those three. And maybe that's a video I'll have to do, is just a master using just the West Audio gear, to show that you can actually get a great sounding master just using those three pieces of gear. So really and truly, to answer this question is, yeah, you can just use, I could just use West Audio gear that's in this studio. I could use all the West Audio gear, and I'm losing maybe 5% of what I have capable in the mastering, in the mixing side of things, and I'm maybe losing half of what I'm capable of in terms of the gear that I have in the mastering side. So West Audio would have to come out with a few more choice pieces of gear in order for me to strip everything out and replace it all with West Audio gear. And yeah, it's possible though, and it's not a bad route to go down. If you were to want to fit a studio and you were to create this 100% West Audio studio, you would get an incredible sound from that studio. I would stand by that because I know I could get an incredible sound just using West Audio gear and using no other gear, especially in this studio.